One that says, me watching her scream after I poured boiling water on her after she told a boy happy birthday because why you happy, he made it another year. Just weird stuff. That's super weird to repost, especially
when investigators discovered 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body chopped up in the trunk of a Tesla on September 8, 2025. They first thought it was just another brutal murder case. But then they checked D4vd's TikTok, and what they uncovered was insane. When TikTok posts expose a killer's true colors, we're talking about D4vd, real name David Anthony Burke, a 20-year-old artist who rose to fame with viral hits like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me. But here's the wild part. He was out here posting content that was basically a digital confession to murder. And nobody noticed until it was too late. This isn't your typical rapper in trouble story. This is some next-level psycho stuff that had the entire internet shook. Real talk, when they found Celeste's body chopped up in his Tesla trunk, investigators thought it was a regular murder case. But digging into his social media revealed a treasure map of clues hiding in plain sight that everyone just brushed off as dark humor. Turns out his TikTok reposts were practically a play-by-play of what he was planning. I've seen a lot of crazy things covering stories like this, but this case made me question everything about how young people act online. Because what investigators uncovered wasn't just random edgy content. It was a detailed documentation of a killer's mindset for anyone to see. The first red flag detectives noticed was a repost of a guy chopping raw chicken with the caption, "Me if I see her talk with other dudes," to a normal person that just looks toxic. But when you find out Celeste's body was literally dismembered, that post feels like a blueprint for murder. And it got worse. He reposted the infamous American Psycho nail gun scene with the caption, "Me after hearing about her past with other boys. I'm jealous and utterly disgusted by her actions." He was literally using movie clips to telegraph his violent intentions while everyone just scrolled past like it was normal. That same jealousy and disgust matched perfectly with what investigators later learned about his relationship with this underage girl. What makes this even more disturbing is that he had multiple reposts about killing partners, dismemberment, mental health struggles, and fake funerals. Basically building a whole curriculum for murder on his feed while people just liked and shared it like it was entertainment. Online discussions even described these posts as fetishizing murder, and that's exactly what they were. He was getting off on the fantasy before making it real. The most disturbing part? D4vd's TikTok profile picture was a bloody, blindfolded Hello Kitty. Now you might think that was just some edgy aesthetic choice. But hold up, Celeste was last seen wearing Hello Kitty sandals and carrying a Hello Kitty keychain, and she loved that character. So this wasn't just a random profile picture, this was him putting his victim's favorite character on his page like a twisted trophy. That's some real predator behavior right there. It gets even darker when you realize he posted a video on February 7, 2024, captioned, "When your card declines at therapy and they bring in that one Hello Kitty girl you met in 2021. That wasn't just a meme, that was him admitting he met Celeste online years earlier, hiding the truth in plain sight like some sick game. But the part that really had investigators furious was a cryptic "I miss her" repost he shared alongside violent memes. They believe he was talking about Celeste after she went missing, and instead of helping find her, he was posting about missing her while knowing exactly where she was, cut up in his trunk. That's some next-level sociopathic behavior that would make Jeffrey Dahmer proud. And here's the wild part. There's a rapper named David I barely knew about, but I actually talked to this guy once. And now it blows my mind how he managed to build an entire career off the same emotions that drove him to murder. His song Romantic Homicide got billions of streams, and everyone thought it was just sad breakup music, but investigators now think it might have been a hidden confession. He was literally profiting off singing about his crimes. The investigation revealed that all those TikTok posts were from before they found the body. They were old videos, meaning he had been fantasizing about murder publicly for months, maybe years, before doing it. This wasn't a crime of passion or a heat-of-the-moment thing. This was premeditated violence documented like a diary. Online communities even started comparing his content to Jeffrey Dahmer's twisted behavior, and honestly, that's not an exaggeration. Just like Dahmer, he seemed to take pleasure not only in the violence, but in the psychological game, dropping hints, leaving clues, and hiding his true nature while building his image as a sensitive indie artist. What makes it so disturbing is how calculated all of it was. Every repost, every caption, every piece of content seemed carefully chosen to show his mental spiral toward violence. This wasn't random posting or edgy clout chasing. This was a step-by-step roadmap to murder. This was a systematic record of someone's descent into becoming a killer, all while gaining followers and building his brand. The case completely changed how law enforcement views social media evidence in murder investigations. D4vd's TikTok activity wasn't just background noise or character evidence, it was a literal roadmap showing his motives, his planning process, and his psychological state leading up to Celeste's murder. Every repost was a breadcrumb, every caption a confession, and every shared clip another piece of the puzzle. Here's the real story behind the headlines. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was only 15 years old when her remains were found, but her connection to this predator started much earlier than anyone realized. Investigators uncovered a disturbing grooming process that began when she was just 11, with evidence spread across multiple platforms. The timeline showed how this man's violent fantasies slowly evolved into a deadly reality, documenting the entire progression step by step.
So chat, there's a rapper named David that I didn't know that much about, but apparently I actually talked to the guy.
Real talk, Celeste was remembered by her family as a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend, a young girl who loved Hello Kitty and had her whole future ahead of her. She was small, weighing around 71 pounds, with wavy black hair, and was last seen wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow metal chain bracelet, and stud earrings. But these details don't show the real tragedy: how a vulnerable young girl became the target of a predator who was documenting his behavior online like it was content. The timeline of Celeste's situation with D4vd becomes even more disturbing when compared to his social media activity. Reports suggest they may have first connected online as early as 2021, when Celeste was just 11 years old. So while this guy was building his music career and presenting himself as a deep and emotional artist, he was secretly grooming a child behind the scenes, a process that would eventually lead to her murder. Celeste went missing in April 2024 at age 13, and her family reported her disappearance to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. But it wasn't treated as the emergency it should have been, partly because she had run away from home multiple times before. Investigators now believe those runaway incidents were connected to her situation with D4vd, and because of that history, crucial chances to save her were missed. What makes this even more heartbreaking is the evidence showing that Celeste's family knew she was secretly involved with someone named David. Her mother admitted Celeste had been in contact with him, and a former teacher confirmed she met him online through social media. The fact that her family and teachers knew about this relationship but still couldn't stop what happened shows how hard it is to protect kids in today's digital world.
It was the body of a young girl named Celeste who would have just turned 15 years old.
Okay, so another thing that's kind of confusing me about this whole thing, I got some Casamigos. Nothing that's confusing me about this whole thing. She was last seen on April 5th.
The physical evidence linking D4vd to Celeste was as disturbing as it was obvious. Both had matching SH tattoos on their right index fingers, with Celeste's done in red ink. This wasn't just a coincidence, it felt like a mark of ownership, as if this predator was literally branding his victim. The medical examiner confirmed the tattoo detail, and Celeste's family verified it as information police hadn't released to the public. But the digital evidence was even worse. Screenshots from D4vd's Discord server from 2022, when Celeste was just 11 or 12, showed interactions between them that were far from innocent fan chats. They documented a years-long grooming process where D4vd slowly built her trust and isolated her from anyone who could protect her. Investigators also found an unreleased track titled Celeste_Demo_Unfin from December 2023, which referenced Celeste with disturbingly intimate lyrics, including lines about tattoos and obsession. This song became a chilling soundtrack to D4vd's mental state in the months before Celeste's murder. Those lyrics weren't artistic expression, they were a confession put to music. When Celeste's body was discovered, it was as tragic as it was revealing. On September 8, 2025, workers at a Hollywood tow impound lot reported a foul smell coming from an abandoned Tesla. When LAPD investigated, they found Celeste's decomposed remains stuffed in a bag inside the front trunk. The car was registered to D4vd, but he hadn't been driving it recently since he was on tour outside Los Angeles. The condition of her body told its own horrifying story. Reports confirmed dismemberment, exactly matching the violent fantasies D4vd had shared online for years. Her body had been decomposing for months, suggesting she was murdered right around the time D4vd started his tour, letting him keep up his public image while knowing her body was left to rot in his car.
18-year-old Celeste Rivas as the person who was found dead at a Hollywood tow yard in early September in the trunk of singer David's Tesla. Medical examiner is still trying to determine the cause of her.
What investigators found most disturbing was how calculated the entire crime was. The Tesla had been abandoned in the Hollywood Hills just about a block and a half from where D4vd was staying, which clearly wasn't random. Parking it that close let him keep tabs on the situation while still having plausible deniability about his involvement. The car sat there for nearly 5 days before it was towed, and during that entire time, D4vd kept touring and posting on social media like nothing had happened. The digital evidence revealed how much he had been planning and fantasizing about violence against Celeste. Online speculation about his motives has included jealousy, pregnancy scares, or fear of career damage from being linked to a minor. But the social media trail suggests something even darker, that D4vd got pleasure from psychologically torturing and ultimately murdering someone he had groomed for years. Photos and live streams from October 2023 show D4vd with a girl who looks like Celeste at a Los Angeles event, proving their connection wasn't just online. These public appearances, combined with the private Discord conversations, paint the picture of someone brazenly flaunting his relationship with a minor while at the same time documenting his violent fantasies for the world to see. Investigators also uncovered a Reddit comment posted 8 days before Celeste's identity was made public, mentioning a missing girl from Lake Elsinore connected to D4vd. This indicates that people in his circle knew about his involvement in Celeste's disappearance long before law enforcement confirmed it, raising serious questions about why no one came forward sooner.
Brother told NBC News that he was aware that his sister knew the singer David. Matthew Rivas said when she went missing, she was on her way to see a movie with him, but never returned.
The timeline becomes even more disturbing when you factor in D4vd's touring schedule. He managed to keep up his public persona, performing for fans while knowing Celeste's body was decomposing in his car. This level of compartmentalization points to a deeply antisocial personality capable of extreme deception and emotional detachment. Celeste's family has been devastated, with her mother confirming details about the tattoo that police hadn't released to the public. A GoFund campaign was set up to help with burial costs, adding to the pain of a family forced to crowdfund their daughter's funeral while processing the horrific details of her murder. What makes this case especially tragic is how many red flags were ignored. Celeste's brother reportedly told police about her relationship with D4vd, but the report was dismissed due to a lack of evidence. This systemic failure to protect a vulnerable child, combined with D4vd's ability to hide behind a carefully crafted public persona, allowed a preventable tragedy to happen. The digital evidence shows this wasn't an impulsive act or a moment of anger. It was a calculated murder committed by someone who had been fantasizing about violence for years, documenting those fantasies online, and using his growing fame to access and groom vulnerable young fans. Social media ultimately became the smoking gun. Connecting D4vd's TikTok activity to Celeste's murder didn't happen overnight. It required a new approach to digital forensics that treated social media not as background noise, but as a goldmine of evidence revealing a killer's mindset, planning process, and psychological evolution toward violence. On September 18, 2025, LAPD executed a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills house where D4vd had been staying, marking a major turning point in the investigation. The search focused on potential blood evidence, with investigators checking drains for traces of blood or tissue. Several items were seized for forensic analysis, but the most damning evidence came from the digital investigation. Analysis of D4vd's social media revealed that his TikTok reposts and captions were not random dark humor, but a systematic documentation of violent fantasies that matched the details of Celeste's murder with chilling accuracy.
All of this, a song leaked that I can't confirm if it's real, but it's called Celeste. Apparently, David wrote it in 2023, and the lyrics are kind of crazy.
The Tesla itself became one of the most important pieces of evidence in ways D4vd clearly never anticipated. Modern Teslas are basically computers on wheels, recording detailed data about their usage, location history, and even internal camera footage. If Teslas have helped solve other high-profile cases, then using his own car in connection with Celeste's murder was likely the most catastrophic mistake D4vd could have made. The social media analysis revealed disturbing patterns that were impossible to ignore. One repost showed a man chopping raw chicken with the caption, "Me, if I see her talk with other dudes," which became chillingly significant when compared to the discovery of Celeste's dismembered remains. This wasn't coincidence, it was evidence of premeditation, showing that D4vd had been fantasizing about dismembering Celeste out of jealousy. Another repost from American Psycho with a caption about jealousy and disgust gave investigators insight into his mindset, suggesting D4vd saw Celeste not as a victim, but as someone who had betrayed him and deserved punishment. This victim-blaming mentality is common among violent offenders who justify extreme acts through warped thinking. Perhaps most chilling was the realization that D4vd's Hello Kitty-themed profile picture and posts weren't just an aesthetic choice, but trophies symbolizing his relationship with Celeste. A February 7, 2024 video with the caption about that one Hello Kitty girl you met in 2021 was not a random meme. It was a public reference to his grooming of Celeste, hidden in plain sight. The investigation also revealed how extensively D4vd manipulated those around him. Reports suggest he even paid other young people in his Discord server to stay quiet about his relationship with Celeste, creating a network of complicity that kept him from being caught for years. This level of planning and control showed that this was not a spontaneous act, but a meticulously planned crime driven by manipulation and obsession.
Why the hell would you go in Elon's on-road spaceship that records everything and go do a crime and then leave the body in the trunk? It probably got you chopping her up. It probably got all type of...
The professional fallout for D4vd has been swift and devastating. His record label, Intercope, immediately paused promotions for the deluxe version of his album Withered, while major industry players like Universal Music Group, Sony Music Publishing, and Wasserman halted all activities with him. Sponsors including Crocs and Hollister pulled campaign content featuring D4vd, and he canceled his entire US and world tour. The timing of his social media posts has also taken on chilling new meaning. Fans noticed that his last Instagram post promoting the deluxe version of his album went up on September 7th, Celeste's 15th birthday. Her body was found the very next day. This timing seems far too deliberate to be coincidence and suggests that D4vd may have been commemorating her birthday while knowing her remains were rotting in his car. The public reaction has been one of shock and outrage. Conversations across X, Reddit, and TikTok have exploded with users compiling evidence threads, sharing theories, and expressing disgust. Many former fans say they can no longer listen to his music, while others have compared D4vd's lyrics and online behavior to the disturbing patterns seen in infamous serial killers.
Mom of the victim knew that she was dating someone named David. Did she not know his age? And I'm not blaming her specifically, but it seems like the people around her knew a bit about it, like the guy from the Reddit post who apparently knew that she ran off.
What makes this case especially significant for law enforcement is how it highlights the evolution of criminal behavior in the digital age. Traditional investigations have relied on physical evidence, witness testimony, and standard behavioral analysis. But the D4vd case shows that social media can act as a real-time confession, with perpetrators either consciously or unconsciously documenting their fantasies and actions for the world to see. It has also exposed the serious challenges of protecting children online. Despite warnings from people who knew about D4vd's relationship with Celeste, including family members and educators, the systems meant to intervene failed catastrophically. This case will likely push for new protocols on how to handle reports of inappropriate relationships between adults and minors, especially when those adults have public platforms and influence. Celeste's official cause of death remains deferred pending further forensic analysis, but the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming. The matching tattoos, documented conversations, leaked photos and videos, unreleased song referencing her by name, and most importantly, the social media posts outlining D4vd's violent fantasies create a compelling case for his involvement in her murder. As of now, D4vd has not been formally charged, though he continues to cooperate with investigators through his representatives. The case remains active, with forensic testing still ongoing and no clear timeline for resolution. However, the digital evidence has completely reshaped how this investigation is being handled, giving prosecutors an unprecedented look into a suspect's mindset and planning process. The tragic irony is that D4vd's rise to fame came from connecting with young fans